You're listening to the Sales Success Stories podcast, where we deconstruct world-class sales performers to provide insights and strategies to help you improve. To learn more, visit us at top1.fm. Here's your host, Scott Ingram.
Welcome to the fifth installment of the Sales Success Stories book preview episodes, which are being brought to you by Story Dimensions. If you haven't yet heard any of the four previous examples, I've been working on a book with many of the top 1% sales performers who have appeared on this podcast. In October, we'll publish this book that will feature dozens of stories from over 20 contributors. Your option to pre-purchase the book through Indiegogo is still available until the end of August, with all of the original crowdfunding campaign benefits still intact, including the option to be named in the book and receive immediate access to the now over 60 stories that have been written to date if you contribute $50 or more. Just go to top1.fm/book to check that out. All of these special preview episodes are brought to you by Story Dimensions, a SaaS sales enablement company. Obviously, I'm a big believer in the power of stories, and when I saw their offering, it was pretty much love at first sight. Story Dimensions is the only solution that captures and packages real stories from your customers into easy to digest and deliver formats that salespeople can use to build credibility and trust with buyers. I encourage you to check them out. Go to storydimensions.com and request a live demo to see how Story Dimensions can help you accelerate your sales cycles and close more deals. Today, I'm actually going to read you one of my own stories from the book. Getting It Done and Doing It Right, Recipe for a Great Sales Culture by Scott Ingram. I've had the opportunity to work with some great sales leaders, and the best of the best was Alex Shootman. Alex was the Chief Revenue Officer at Eloqua when I joined the company and is currently serving as the CEO of Workfront. Since the hiring manager and my future boss for this role was based in San Francisco, and Alex and I were both based in Austin at the time, I initially spent more time interviewing with Alex than I did with Dennis. In one of those first conversations with Alex, I fell in love with the sales culture he was creating after he walked me through his Getting It Done and Doing It Right framework. Alex grabbed a notepad and drew a simple 2x2 matrix. On the left-hand side, he wrote the letters GID, which he explained stood for Getting It Done. At the bottom, he wrote the letters DIR for Doing It Right. He started with the upper right quadrant and explained this was the easiest. As he drew a star in that box, he told me that the sales professionals in the organization who were both getting it done while doing it right would be stars. They would be recognized and rewarded. From there, he moved to the next easiest to explain quadrant in the bottom left, where he wrote a large letter F. He suggested this position was fairly self-evident, as sellers who weren't performing against either measurement should expect to be fired. Next, he moved to the bottom right quadrant, where he wrote a large letter C. I distinctly remember him telling me that we believe good things happen to good people, and explained those who weren't getting it done but were doing it right deserved a chance. The C was for coaching, and he believed in coaching and working with these underperformers to help them improve. Coaching would help the underperformers move up to the top right quadrant, where they would be recognized and rewarded for their efforts as stars. All this made complete sense. It was simple, straightforward, and he shared additional details around what it means to get it done. For the most part, that was about making your numbers. This is sales after all. Not to mention some of the nuances around doing it right. Things like being a true team player and working with other departments, putting customers and their experience first and doing what's right by them. But the real genius in this model came as he explained the heart of the culture and how the sales leadership team would deal with those who fell into the last quadrant. In that box, Alex wrote the letters FF and explained that those who were getting it done, achieving or exceeding their numbers, but not doing it right, could expect to be fired faster. At that point in my career, I'd seen enough to know that right in front of me was the solution to the toxic sales culture. One so often dominated by an ultra-high performer who got to that position because they were all about themselves and would do anything to anybody inside or outside of the organization to get what they wanted. On paper, they look like rock stars, but if you dig a little deeper into the real cost of their behavior, it can be extremely detrimental in so many ways. In a word, they create churn. The deals they bring in will often not renew, and other strong sellers will often leave because of the actions these toxic individuals take. A couple of which are best described in Lee Bartlett's book, the #1 bestseller, as The Leech and The Confidence Trickster. And this is often exacerbated by the actions, or more often the inactions, of a poor manager. Not only was this getting it done and doing it right framework a recipe for a great sales culture, but it also worked its way into the whole company's culture. Everyone bought into this idea, and the result was one of the most collaborative and innovative environments I've ever worked in. Most importantly, it wasn't just an attempt at lip service. We all lived these principles, and once or twice I even saw leadership act on the fired faster mandate with a bad actor, further reinforcing their commitment to this model and deepening our trust in them. Lessons learned. Culture matters. Get to know an organization and what drives them before you sign that offer letter. Leadership matters, and it will have an impact on your results either positively or negatively. Talk is cheap. Look at the values that an organization actually acts on. What they do matters much more than what they say. Now, if you go to the show notes for this episode on top1.fm, you can read this story, and you'll also find pictures of the 2x2 getting it done and doing it right matrix. For the book, I've also contributed 3 other stories of my own titled Creative Prospecting, Be Specific About What You Want, and finally, A Rapid Rise, An Epic Fall, and Getting, quote, Fired Up. Remember, you can check out all of the pre-purchase options while they're still available through August at top1.fm/book. Also, if you're not already on the mailing list, you can join today at top1.fm, and the welcome email will include details on how to get access to the video of your choice from the Sales Success Summit. Thanks for listening, and make sure you're subscribed to the podcast because next week I've got another epic interview for you. A listener recently commented that whenever he sees an episode that's over 75 minutes long, he knows it's going to be a great one, and this one clocked in at over 100 minutes. And I, for one, thought it was pretty incredible. So watch for that to release next week like all of these episodes do, first thing Tuesday morning.
Thanks for listening to the Sales Success Stories podcast. To be sure you never miss an episode, and for an invitation to our sales success community powered by Influitive, subscribe to our newsletter at top1.fm.